My opinion on by definition of phonology is a follows a phrase definition studies for linguistic that studies sound system, whether of not including phonetic aspect within one language between or the foreign language. This definition is relative broad because it covers the basic understanding of what is meant by a sound system in a linguistic context. However, it should be noted that the term phony is often used interchangeably where phone so it is like to chase confusion of if more specific boundaries of not established. The second definition states that phonology is the study of how speech sounds are derived and how the sounds function in language. This definition is more specific and function of the mechanism for arranging sounds in the language as well as the role of the sounds in the linguistic system. This definition seems clearer and more detailed in explaining the essence of phonology because it emphasizes aspects of sounds function in the context of language communication. https://www.vocabulary.com defines phonology as the study the ways of the way sounds of used in a language and their rules for formation sound tests worldwide. Do you think about the definition of phonology above? Source answer. Mm, the the understanding of phonology mentions on the vocabulary.com site is in accordance with the scientific definition of phonology. Phonology is a field of the linguistics that discusses how sounds are language and the rules when pronouncing certain words. In this context, the term includes the analysis of the phonetic structure of the language, including the dispersion and the shape of the sounds within a sentence or phrase. However, it's also important to realize that such a simple definition may not fully encompass the complexity of modern phonology theory, especially as it has evolved through phrase for them and the academic research. But in the general, the description is accurate enough to answer the basic question of what phonology is in linguistics. That phonology is not only concerned with the identification and classification of individual sounds, but also with how the sound interacts and are useful in creating effective language structures and the pattern for communication purposes. Furthermore, phonology is concerned with why sound a language is and how it arranges them. This shows that phonology waves sounds as important components in the structure of language, including how they are used to produce different meaning and speech patterns. Finally, Phonology is called science with the contribution of the sounds to the text of communication. It emphasizes that the main function of the phonology is to explain how sound systems work together to create effective communication between speakers and listeners. Analogy study of how speech sounds are organized. The concept of analogy studies in the context of language is usually not appropriate to use to describe sound patterns. However, if you want to refer to analogous methods in the phonetics, for example, the weekend tense. However, if you want to refer to analogous methods in the phonetics, for example, the weekend and each the context of articular phonetics. Of 2. Phonology studies how speech sounds are used. Phonology is defined as the study of the language which studies the sounds of language produced by the human speech operators. The flight for phonology studies wave language sound not only as cycle phenomena but also as component that from the structure of the language. This includes how the sounds are used in the syntactic, morphological, and semantics context to form complex meanings. Constructive voices for minimal representation of sound patterns. Constructive are minimal phrase according to current LP Younger A and Whitman are really in the concept of a minimal phrase can be understood to three main characteristics, namely minimal. A. Contains the same number of plain letters alphabets. B. Only difference in one segment. C. Has different meanings. Based on these three main characteristics, a minimal phrase can be defined as two words that have the same number of phonemes but differ in the one phoneme and meaning. The following example illustrates a minimal phrase based on the mental sounds. Fractive say fractive, a minimal consonant phrase, for example, while minimal phrase B and V, bird and furry. 2. Minimal phrase B and V by and by pie. 3. Minimal phrase and did and thing. 4. Minimal phrase L and R, live and arrive. 5. Minimal phrase T and T, catch and cake. 6. Minimal phrase and C and number of phonemes but differ in the one phoneme and meaning. The following example illustrates a minimal phrase based on the mental sounds. Fractive say fractive, a minimal consonant phrase, for example, while minimal phrase B and V, bird and furry. 2. Minimal phrase B and V by and by pie. 3. Minimal phrase and did and thing. 4. Minimal phrase L and R, live and arrive. 5. Minimal phrase they and t, catch and k. 6. Minimal phrase and she and he. 7. Minimal phrase of and fun and fun. I. Minimal phrase of and have and hate. 9. Minimal phrase of and so. Minimal phrases are two words that have different meanings and only different in one phoneme. There are two types of minimal phrases based on the first phoneme position in the short words. Example, lupa and lupa difference in all and are. 2. Middle words. Example, marks, marks. And masak difference in R and S. 3. End of words. Example, we and you difference in I and you. Minimal phrase help in the analysis of phoneme in language.